Welcome to the True Sky Crew podcast, where we share our cosmic pearls of wisdom. Why True Sky Astrology? Because when we align with the true sky, we align with our true self. We are your hosts, Georgia, Janine, and Sachi. Thank you for joining us. Today, we will be talking about September transits.
Welcome, hey, everybody. We're having a great time.
Party in the house.
Yes, it is definitely a retrograde dance party. And to let you know, we are experiencing some storms and we are amidst Mercury retrograde. So if the connection goes out at any point, we will be back within a minute. So if it goes down, make sure you tune back in.
Right. Thank you.
How y'all feeling? How you feeling amidst these crazy tango retrogrades that are going on?
Definitely
just
a
kind
lot.
of feeling like that calm in the middle of the storm. Just like having a little still point moment as everything's starting to swirl around us.
Yes. It's funny, Sashi and I were talking before we jumped on the live. It's like, it's funny that we're having the podcast on Mercury retrograde day. It's really like the reel we made where it's like, we're just grooving with it. We got this.
Yep. Two-stepping.
Exactly.
Two-stepping. Yeah. So we got a lot of interesting things happening in September. Some interesting things still happening at the end of this month. Uranus.
Yeah.
But yeah, next month we do have some very swirly retrogrades, things coming out of retrograde, things going into retrograde all in the first week or 2 weeks. So that'll be fun. It'll be like throwing it in drive, throwing it in reverse, throwing it in drive, throwing it in reverse. So we'll talk about that.
I was telling Sachi, it felt like Venus going direct and Jupiter going retrograde the same day kind of feels like that cosmic baton, like, okay, now you go.
Yeah, it does indeed. So where do we want to start, you guys? Or do we want to, Sashi, did you have a comment you wanted to read or?
Oh, yes. So we would like to make a revision from a viewer's comment. So thank you, Julie, for your comment. So originally we had a timeline in episode 1 and the Ptolemy's time was a bit off, which even makes it a bit more suspicious and a little bit more auspicious for us of the points that we're trying to make. So we had a viewer mention that our timeline is just a hair off. Ptolemy was actually at 157 AD. He was a librarian in the Alexandrian Library and a Roman citizen. His writings were happening during the same time as the Gospels were being written. And they comment that it seems that the Gospels were initiating the age of Pisces, which, if you recall from that, is sort of the age of the deception, which we are still in. So we have a little bit of a revision of our timeline. So originally I had placed Ptolemy over here with Hipparchus, but actually Ptolemy was after the Julian calendar was created. So even more interesting that it was done in conjunction with the Catholic Church before they headed into the Dark Ages, and how it related to the Julian calendar, which again later would be shifted by the Gregorian calendar. So there was a little bit more religious input during that. And again, a lot of it was so that they could calculate various rituals that they were doing, like Easter and things like that. But yeah, I had just placed Ptolemy on the wrong side of that split that was created down the line. So of course, at that time, actually, the timeline wouldn't look like this for them. It would be one continuing thing. So just wanted to make that make that revision. There's that Mercury retrograde.
Some of that astral stuff coming through. Huh?
Yeah, it's true. It's very interesting that this is relating to my dream space currently. So yes, we wanted to thank you, Julie, for making that comment and make a revision to our first episode. So thank you for that. And would you ladies care to mention anything about this?
No, I think it's
No.
it's all interesting. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. All right.
all good with that.
Yeah. And so, of course, for all of the viewers who are tuning in live or who are taking a look at us after and viewing, we do look at your comments, whether it's in the live chat or on the video. We read them all, we discuss them, and when we are ready to bring it to you guys, we will share it publicly. So please comment away, chat with us, let us know your thoughts, and we would love for you guys to be part of this discussion continuously.
Yes, we
Beautiful.
love our
Thank you.
crew.
Mhm. Yes, you too are part of the True Sky crew.
That's right.
So
Gonna say
feel
the
free
crew.
to hashtag us, the True Sky crew. That includes all of y'all as well. All yins.
All of you.
yins.
The True Sky crew is all of you.
Uh-huh.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Mhm.
We need a t-shirt.
Yes, we do.
I think so.
I think at this point we have a few t-shirts coming out.
I think we probably do, don't we?
All right. Well, Janine, you made the list. So do you want to like kind of guide us through it, or should we just
Oh yeah, let's just start with number one. Like we can just mention because we'll go through the details of what's going into retrograde, what's going out of retrograde as we go through each planet. But I think it's important to note at the beginning of the month, September 1st, there will be 6 planets and 1 asteroid in retrograde: Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and asteroid Chiron. Or planetoid, whatever designation you want to give Chiron. He's in the mix still. Yeah, and that's a lot.
It is.
And then we have Venus stationing direct. And then immediately after, Jupiter throws it in reverse. And then a week or so later, Mercury stations direct. So there's a little bit of a 2-step there for a week or so. And at the end of the month, we'll have 5 planets and 1 asteroid. So you'll see where it shakes out as we talk through each planet or, luminary. But just to put it out there, like we got some planets dancing the 2-step. So at the end of the month on the 30th, September 30th, the 5 planets are Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and asteroid Chiron that are in retrograde still. So we're just in that time of year where everybody's backing those things up. And it's also interesting to note on the 3rd and 4th, Venus and Jupiter will both be stationed, albeit in opposite directions. Venus will be stationing direct. Jupiter will be stationing retrograde, but they're both stationed for those 2 days. So that is that's going to be a wild couple days right there with like sort of that, what do you want to do with it kind of energy? Because I always feel like station planets are like, you have some opportunities to make quantum leaps while that planet is standing still from our point of view.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the other note is that this month, all of the outer planets will now be in retrograde. Once Uranus throws it in reverse on, I think the 27th or the 29th of this month, August. The end of this month,
27.
Uranus will be in retrograde. So that makes all 3 of the outer planets in retrograde and all the karmic planets, what I consider karmic planets. So Saturn, Pluto, and Chiron, technically not a planet, but Chiron, all of them will be in retrograde. So we are just doing some deep diving.
Yes, we are. It is quite the retrograde season.
Indeed.
little karmic cleanup time?
Yeah. Well,
That's a great way to put it.
yeah, to embrace it, be like, okay, what's my part of this cleanup job? Let's do it. Instead of resisting it, because I think retrogrades get a bad rap. It's just an opportunity to go inwards.
Exactly.
Get
And
to know
go
yourself a little more.
Yeah, you understand your own cycles, you understand your own patterns, because when the planets are appearing to move backwards, it's same like us, right? We never truly slip backwards. We're always moving forward through space-time. Well, technically, for the sake of conversation. So, even when you're going into another cycle, whether it's a relationship, a behavioral pattern and addiction, you're still moving forward. You're not starting back from where you were. And so it's a really great time to do all the reassess, revisit, reanalyze, reinvent yourself.
Reclaim.
Yes, reclaim.
It's a lot of
yeah, like
it
that.
feels like a lot
yeah.
of reclamation in this particular cycle. It feels super juicy. As we get into it, it's just gonna show itself.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to ask what I call quantum questions, to ask those inner questions to yourself for anything that you're moving through at this time. Just be like, hey, what's important to know and understand about this? Like, we have a comment in the live chat that, somebody's picking up smoking again, but they're way more conscious of what they're doing, like moving through it consciously. Like, why do I do this? Why do I feel the need for this? Where is that coming from? Like, that is the way to navigate it. It's not to deny yourself the thing. It's just do it more consciously and let the answers come to you. So I think that's a great example of navigating a retrograde.
Absolutely.
So for me, on a day that both Venus and Jupiter are kind of in their standstill in that place, I would spend time being quiet, spend time taking a bath, spend time journaling, spend time touching the earth, and just really letting myself be open to receiving what wants to come through, because it is, like you said, such a great time to ask those quantum questions, and it's a great time to hear those quantum answers as well.
Yeah. And when you ask those questions that way, synchronicity blows up in your life. So it's listen for the answers. This is true. The answers may show up as something you navigate in your 3D waking life, and you kind of have to be ready to be like, okay, I'm on an adventure today, because that is the nature of retrograde. Rework it, right? And go on that adventure, even though it's like, oh, well, I had a plan to go over here. Sometimes you gotta throw the plan away and follow where the universe is guiding you to. So
exactly, it's like that waking dream exercise where you're like, how are the messages going to show themselves today? And it's almost like a cosmic treasure hunt, like going from little clue to little clue. So you have to give yourself space. So I think, not making plans on days like that is always the best.
Yeah. It's very interesting too, where Mercury is going retrograde. So I'm sure when we get to him in the list, we will talk more about the significance of how that might come up too. So.
Yeah, it's a super juicy one.
It really is. Yeah. It really is. So do we want to start maybe with sun and moon, like talk a little bit sun and moon, and then maybe Sashi, I know, has some graphics on what a physical retrograde looks like, and we can show you on some software too, like where the loop is in the sky. So maybe we'll do more on the retrograde stuff after sun and moon, since sun and moon never retrograde.
Okay. Do you want me to pull up the software so you can just look in the sky while we talk about sun and moon?
Sure. Yeah, let's do that. That makes it a good graphic aid.
Yep.
Yeah,
especially for those who, if you want to show your friends the true sky, you gotta have the true sky in front of you. Sometimes you got to see it to believe it,
This may be a good moment too, because we get a lot of questions about what software do we use, what sky apps do we use. We use a lot of different ones,
we use
guys.
Tons of different ones.
We use a lot of different ones. We don't have any favorites. Well, we probably do, but we don't have any that do everything we want it to do. Right. So I guess that's a point we want to make.
Exactly.
Is like, find something that works for what you want it to do. And, if you find something that you think is awesome, share it with us, because by all means, we don't know every app out there. So
exactly. And we would love, and we would love to create our own. So if anyone is a coder, app maker, all of that out there, we would love it for you to reach out to us. And we have a couple of things in the works. And once we, are able to promote some stuff, we will definitely be guiding you guys in the direction that we think is most advantageous for true sky astrologists.
Yep.
So that includes investors as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Sponsors, investors,
all of that. Yes. We are open. We have the vision. We know how to do it. We just need the the coders in the green.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's jump in there. Let's talk about the sun a little bit.
Yep. This
There
is,
he
by the way,
is.
starting September 1st. So this is where we are at the beginning of September.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was posting comments in the live chat. Let's see. Where do we want to start? Sun in Leo. Sun is in Leo currently. So this is September 1st. Yeah.
Yes.
September 14th, the sun aligns with Denebola in Leo's tail. And we had a good question. We might as well bring this up here. Somebody was asking, how do you determine cusps? We're kind of we kind of are moving away from talking about cusps, like software cusps, like this is strictly Leo, this is strictly Virgo. And we're kind of looking at it more like, well, this is Leo, and then there's a void space, and then there's Virgo. So we will look at the first star that would make up Virgo, the last star that would make up Leo. And that's how we're kind of determining how when the sun is moving out of specifically Leo energy. Now, none of this is like a wall of energy, right? So the software that uses the midpoint system that does true sky calculations, or I should say true sidereal calculations, it shows a cusp, and that is, at the cusp, it is a blend of energy. So I feel like the void space, like we're talking about it as a void space, is like a reset period where, yeah, it is a blend of energy, but it's also like, it's like you're doing a cleansing from the Leo portion of the energy. Take some time to ground and welcome in the Virgo energy, right? So some constellations have more of a void space than others. Between Leo and Virgo, there's not a whole lot. There's only a couple days. So it's like a quick turning over of the energy. So when we're talking about we don't really talk about cusps so much anymore, but when we do talk about it, we'll say, okay, sun's moving out of Leo. It's because it's aligning, and you can't see the ecliptic in here, but the ecliptic runs sort of at a diagonal from left to right. And the fixed star Denebola aligns with the sun. So where she's got the sun at on this date, the alignment is right there.
So this is where the alignment would be.
And the ecliptic is perpendicular to the sun. Yeah, to the
it would be a line that's right here,
right?
Which I don't think that the software has the ecliptic. Once again, reiterating, not every single thing. No app does everything we want. But just imagine that there is a line going like this. That would be the sun's path that creates the elliptic or ecliptic.
Blah, blah, blah.
Look at me with all my Mercury retrograde whoopsies.
Well, and then that's a good point too. You have a Gemini rising sign, so you might be spilling out of your mouth a lot.
For sure. Absolutely.
That's funny.
Well, I kind of see it like void spaces as a blend. Like I don't necessarily call it a cusp, but like if a person's sun falls in that area, I kind of use all the tools at once. Like, okay, it's the void space. What else is aligned with it? But then also, if I was doing like the math between my brain's not working right now either. The math between the constellations, midpoint. Thank you. What side would it be on, and how much distance is it? And so I kind of still like. I kind of look at everything and come up with something from all of it.
I do that as well. Of like, if this is the last star, this is the closest star, but this is the last star. So there's a lot that goes into the analysis. Plus, we'll have to open the can of worms at a later episode, but we also take into consideration the lunar mansions, the nakshatras, which there is no gaps in between constellations when you use lunar mansions. So there's even more detail. Even if someone's sun is in, like right here, this space still holds an energy of its own.
Yes.
So that's another data point that we'll bring in, and everyone, you will see a lot more information on that in the future too.
So what day does the sun is on the 17th that the sun actually enters into Virgo.
Yeah, there's a star. I'm not sure what the V is. Maybe it's like New Virgo, whatever. It's some, Greek notation that they give stars. I wish my pointer worked that y'all could see this, but it's at the top of Virgo's head. The designation in the sky apps is V Virg or VIR, V-VIR.
Oh, right there.
No, it's probably the bigger one in the swoosh of her hair. Close. Maybe that's that one. So, okay, there's one right there. That I feel like the V Virg is the first one that's in the constellation asterisms. I'm not sure that other one you clicked on that looks like it's closer. Yeah. So that's the star that I have calculated through my software. That is where we're moving into official Virgo energy. So you can see how small the gap is.
So yeah, that would be 17th, even into the 18th.
Yeah, it's late on the 17th. So we have like 2 days. I think it's from 14 to 16 where the sun is kind of cruising through that little void space. And that's then moves into Virgo officially on the 17th by way of that fixed star aligning with that fixed star. And then the sun will be in Virgo for the rest of the month.
Yes. So the rest of September.
And Virgo is a huge constellation, like 45, 46, 47 degrees. It's huge. So she'll be in there for most of October too.
Yep. Which for anyone who works in the natural world, this is when the true harvest season begins. So anyone who's a gardener or a farmer, true harvest season really hasn't started yet.
That's true. So that's what sun's doing as far as where it's moving through constellations. It does have a significant planetary conjunction with Mercury in retrograde on September 6th in Leo, officially in Leo. There they are.
There they are.
Right underneath. We were making a joke about that. I'll keep it clean.
we'll wait till we get to
know what I'm saying.
It's a sacred zone.
It's a sacred zone, yes. So that will be an interesting day.
Very much so. I feel like that's going to be a day. It might be kind of one of those days where some of those harder conversations start to come out.
For sure.
And I would say to be careful, to really mean what you say, because there might be some really lasting effects with that one.
Yeah, and it's a good point to make too, and I'm sure we'll touch on it more when we get to Mercury, but Mercury retrograding at Denebola is also very close to a star in Hydra, Shersif, I believe is what it's called. And I had this aha moment last year doing a chart reading. I was like, oh my gosh, it's connected to seraphim lineage. I mean, lions and serpents. I was like, holy cats.
Seraphim.
Literally, holy cats. And so that is the moment Mercury is got this snapshot moment, like recoding, being able to re-encrypt seraphim lineage people's sort of connections at higher dimensional levels. So when Sun and Mercury in retrograde is conjunct, you got to remember Mercury's holding that vibration of that recoding potential. So the things that come up with Sun and expression and, like Georgia was saying, like really kind of watch the conversations you're having, watch the words you're choosing, think before you speak, but also it could be sort of clairvoyant things coming in and it, soul level stuff. It could be really high level things, but you would be calibrating it by making different choices or choosing your words differently. It can be a lot of things. It could be like meditating, making a higher soul level connection that day, like sit down and be like, higher self, what do we need to recode here to make this connection more stable? So it can have a lot of interesting play out levels that day, I feel like.
Definitely. That's the thing about all these these planetary moments, I mean, they have so many meanings and so many layers. And so again, like what we've said this before, and I'm sure we'll say it again, it just depends on what your work is in the moment and what you're ready to receive, what you're working on, where you're at.
Yeah, there's a range of octaves, like from the highest highs to the lowest astral stuff, right? So what shows up for you is also reflecting where you're at in that process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you can't just say it's going to be like this for everybody, because everybody's working at a different octave of energy.
Indeed.
Right on. So that's
I'm just like waiting for the Mercury part, because I'm like, oh man, there's so much more to say about Mercury.
I know,
so.
I know. We'll move along then,
right.
because that's really the only significant planetary conjunction with Sun in September. There is a truckload of fixed star alignments, and I'll just read down through the list because he's basically going to back over a bunch of them. Or wait, this is Sun. See, I'm already thinking about Mercury. This is Sun. Okay, so we'll just go through these really quick, because most of them are Ursa Major type energy until you get towards the end of the month where it gets really interesting. So on the 1st, the Sun is aligned with Alioth in Ursa Major. The 8th, the Sun is aligned with Mizar in Ursa Major. And Ursa Major energy is like Big Bear energy. It is flowering plasma shield. It is people whose sole job is protection, right? Being a defender or an energetic shield in some way on the high octave of it, not like a wall, right? That's the low octave of a shield, is a wall.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of Ursa Major energy. And then the 14th, Sun is exact Denobola for the new moon. We'll talk about that too. That I feel like that's going to be a powerful lunar cycle. And that is where Mercury went retrograde. So you know there's going to be an echo of energy when the Sun gets to Denobola. You're going to pop into a pocket of Mercury retrograde type work, because that is sort of snapshotted there. And then Sun aligns with Alkaid in Ursa Major on the 19th. And then it starts getting super juicy. Sun on the 25th aligns with Super Galactic Center, also known as Virgo A or M87. If you're looking in sky apps, sometimes you have to type in M space 87, and it does show up seen through Virgo constellation. So I don't know if that will show up on that app or not, but it's kind of above.
There's M61.
Yeah, it's kind of up there somewhere.
Let's see.
See if it'll come up.
Space 87.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is. So that's where it's seen through Virgo constellation. And this is super galactic, not galactic center, which is over at the cusp or end of a fucus, between the fucus and Sagittarius. This is like major quantum dragon type stuff. So at the end of the month, I feel like is going to be some really powerful solar transits. And that's the 25th when it aligns with Super Galactic Center. And then on the 26th, it aligns with Aldebaran Draco. So that's where I get like dragon quantum architecture, because it's literally like boom, boom, one day. Then in the same 24-hour period, you're moving through some really powerful Draco alignments in Super Galactic Center. So that's always a fun time of year. Like that's one of those to put on your calendar and just like watch what comes in around those couple of days. We like see how it goes.
So I was looking at Ursa Major, and it's interesting as well because it's considered the 7 rishis or the 7 sages, like in Vedic astrology. And so it's the people who, like the 7 sages were those who reached the highest universal principle of like the beingness of God, or Brahman as they call it. And I do think that's really interesting because like as we're coming through the end of Leo, there really are like really powerful codes, because this is the divine masculine, and there's Christ codes that come through this constellation as well. And so it feels like there's also opportunities to really connect with like highest aspects of ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, just going from like Cancer, the mother sound fields, Leo, the father light fields, and then you move into Virgo, like the maiden. It's like a rebirthing.
Yeah, the embodiment of all of that, and really our sovereignty.
Yeah. Landing the
Strong
power
one.
of that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Embodiment.
Returning to your source templates too, like Virgo is so much about returning to those angelic templates.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've typically erased Virgo's wings, and a lot of the new stuff that you see about Virgo, usually she's just holding the grain and maybe a bird on her, but yeah, she will always have those wings. And part of me for Virgo is like understanding how to anchor those angelic frequencies of like bringing that high vibrational light to earth. And for me, Virgo is also how you are able to access those utopian timelines. It's like your personal heaven on earth and how you're doing that, which of course Virgo is all about the details, your daily routines, your health, and things like that. So all of which are necessary to access utopian timelines. It's like, does your daily routine reflect the life that you actually want daily?
Yeah.
How are you caring for the temple?
Yeah, the practical applications of the mother father energy integrating. Yeah. What's the play out level? And also it's interesting because I've been kind of sort of going through chart rulers and making some reconsiderations, and Virgo's ruled by Mercury, but it's an earth sign, and I'm like, oh well, duh, it's like Mercury and earth. It's literally landing that mercurial connection in a grounded way to where like the clairvoyance turns on. Ultimately, I feel like it's like to be connected through your upper chakras, the clairvoyance is on. It can have more, I guess, day-to-day play out levels too, but I feel like that's the ultimate sort of high octave play out level, is like get your antenna on the planet, right? Landed on this planet and start talking to your higher self.
Yes, totally. And I feel like somatic practices for Virgo are so necessary to help land all of that information that's moving through our nervous systems. I mean, that's essentially why, Virgo often will have that kind of feeling in the stomach, because it's the enteric nervous system. It's how we feel, how we connect in a way that's also beyond the mind, even though it's like so mental, but it's also beyond the mind. So somatic practices in Virgo season, and for anyone with Virgo placements, is of the utmost importance in like being able to really receive and work with the immensity that's moving through this constellation.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if it's not channeled with the enlightened perspective, it can often manifest into those stereotypical like OCD sort of things, or even the neuroticism. But it's because there's so much like biochemical data that is being registered by the nervous system that sometimes, the way that it channels is, okay, I have to sort this certain thing into this way.
Yeah, the OCD.
I totally agree
OCD
with that.
is a very Virgo thing. This is true. It's almost like the circuits are overwhelmed trying to integrate it all sometimes.
Because it is about like, what is wrong and how do you make it right? That is very much a Virgo thing. That's why they make great overseers. If you ever have, like a business plan or a paper that you want edited to perfection, the Virgo friend is the way you want to go, because they will be able to figure out what is wrong and how to make it right. But if the true underlying aspect of a person, if they're not making their reality, or if they're not bringing their own utopian timeline or their own heaven on earth, then there's like a false sense of making a kitchen pantry has to be this specific way and can't have any speck of dirt on it or something, as a false sense of like soothing the nervous system almost.
That false sense of control, where we're like, if I control everything in my environment and make it just right, then I'll feel just right too. Instead of actually doing practices that make you feel just right. And then what happens around you is a reflection of that.
Exactly.
Very well said. Good habits, patterns, and routines. Because Virgos got to get out of their head, man. They got to get out.
Yeah, and they got to get in their gut.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes called the second brain. That's a big thing in neuroscience now, is understanding the gut brain axis.
Yes.
And that's Mercury.
The enteric nervous system. So that's why also, like, Virgo is so analytical, but also Virgo is highly intuitive. Mutable signs are the spiritual aspect of that element. And it's through the enteric nervous system, it bypasses the brain. And so it's that feeling of, I just know. And like a healthy Virgo is extremely intuitive because of that gut knowing.
And that's super interesting that you say that, because I have always felt that claircognizance is a somatic clair. It is not from the upper three chakras. It is like just a body knowing, like you just know it. So it's from the, from the solar plexus heart, obviously, but solar plexus, sacral, and root, like the body just knows it. So that's very interesting.
Really good point.
Yeah. So anything else we want to throw in the mix about Sun, or does anybody have any questions? Throw them in the chat. Sun moving from Leo to Virgo. Because we're going to move on to the moon.
Yeah, let's do it. For the
Lordy,
moon.
the new moon. Oof, you guys. As if the retrogrades weren't enough this month. The moon cycle, the lunar cycle is like, here's some more inner work. Get in there and do it.
It's like this powerful inner work, but then it's on such a collective level with all of the retrograding outer planets aspecting it.
Yeah. It's both very collective and very internal. And it's literally like what's in that psychic, because you got to remember too, these two super moons, the super full moons we're having this month in August are both sort of Capricorn vibey. So it's literally like the skeletons in your closet are manifesting on a collective scale. And it's an opportunity for everybody to take responsibility for their own stuff and not point blame or, go into the blame or shame game. Just be like, okay, what's my part in this? And how can I help? Right. So,
yes, I mean, exactly.
And that's such a good point with everything that's happening on the planet right now. It's like, all of this is a reflection of all of us. So what do we need to do to exactly what you're saying, what's my part to make it right?
Yeah. And there is a part that is your own internal stuff. Like I'll go do my inner cleanup job. And then how can I help where I'm at? Because sometimes when we know what's going on, how we're connected through media right now can be very overwhelming for your nervous system. So sometimes the ideal thing is like, what can I do where I'm at? And if it's like, I can't really do anything to help Hawaii or these places, that have forest fires, you're just like, okay, well, maybe I'll go volunteer at my local shelter or my, local community garden, or because it's some people's job to just be in the new vibration that's trying to stabilize, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
The best example I have visually is like a cymatic plate. When you're dialing from one frequency up to the next frequency higher, some of the pieces of sand on the cymatic plate jump into that new harmonic first. So there are some people that it's like, it's not, maybe you've done all your karmic cleanup work, right? And it's your job just to hold and stabilize new vibration and make energy pockets that other people are like, oh, hey, yeah, this is great. Let's go do that, right? So you're really stabilizing the new vibration for other people and holding space for them to do their karmic cleanup work.
That feels very Virgo-y as well.
It does.
Yeah. It does. Yeah. It's a very practical approach. It's because it's like, what can you do where you are, physical location, but also energetic location. And, Hawaii is a great example of, like fires that are happening there. And on a microcosmic scale, it's like, how are you using your firepower? Are you allowing someone else to take it and use it in, a nefarious way, perhaps through the 8-8 portal, which is when that started?
Oh man.
But it's like, how are you using your own fire? And that's just like energy work that you can do on a personal level to help bring balance to the collective. Like I'm a big advocate for the reason why our oceans are being trashed and misused is because the collective does not respect their own water, their emotions, their intuitive body and things like that, which of course is improving in the collective, I think. But even still, you know, the only way to see change in the exterior is through the interior self. And that's exactly what Georgia was saying with Virgo energy. And we'll probably see a lot more of that happening, even though, you know, we're talking about the new moon in Leo, but it's that tone that's being set as we move into Virgo season.
Right. Yeah. So that's where we're getting into this new moon at the Leo Virgo void, like right at literally the tail end of Leo. Got that line by the tail. So again, this is where Mercury went retrograde. So we're going to get an echo of that moment is there. So I feel like that's going to be traveling with us for the whole 28-day lunar cycle for the next cycle as well.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And it feels like that's partly why like some completion process energy comes up for me, because that tail end, it's like putting the lid on the cap or putting the on the jar.
Just wrapping up the tail end of things here. Yeah. So I had a thought. What was that thought? It'll come back. But some of the interesting aspects with this new moon coming in, the new moon's on the 14th, in case I didn't mention that. My software says 9:38 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will be opposite Neptune in retrograde, and there's a big old fat grand trine with Pluto in retrograde and Uranus in retrograde. So again, another deep dive into the psyche, the deep psyche, the collective energy, because, you know, outer planets are kind of generational type energies as well. So looks like we got another month of fun.
Oh yeah.
And I say that like, oh my God, look at that, because my inner work goes there. It goes to those really deep, dark levels where I have a lot of excavating to do. Not everybody's gets in there that deep. So for some people, it might be completely different, like just reconnecting to a part, say with Neptune opposition, reconnecting to a new aspect, not a new aspect, a new reconnection to your higher self connection, right? Or some maybe aha moment about galactic lineage. It can be really cool things. I'm looking at it from my point of view where I'm like, oh boy, here comes the inner work. So just
and don't you have Pluto in the 11th house, so you're often doing that deep work for the collective.
Yeah, that's a good point, Georgia. Thank you. Because sometimes I feel like I get like Debbie Downer on like the outer planet stuff, because my stuff is very intense. So just I want to make that note that it's not that intense for everybody.
And you know, Neptune in this alignment too, like this is going to be a new moon that is pay attention to your dreams, because there's a lot going to come through dream space. And this is also when Mercury makes his standstill at the tail of the dragon. So this is where things start to get also interesting with Mercury.
Are we going to save that for Mercury retrograde stuff?
Yeah,
because I was like, I feel like there's a whole lot more that you want to talk about. Okay, we'll wait.
Oh yeah.
And like you said, like the Neptune retrograde could be reworking dream connections, like more dreams at a different level. Pluto could be like deep transformation of really old karma. Uranus retrograde could be like a really cool subconscious shift happen. So there are high octaves to some of these things, especially since Pluto and Uranus are trine the new moon. It does feel supportive to make some of those deep karmic shifts, because I do feel like Pluto is sort of really old buried subconscious karmic things. So it could be some big shifts.
Yeah. I feel like trines kind of make like a chord in music that is like a major chord, like a happy sounding one, not like one of the minor chords that's kind of haunted and scary sounding, which I actually like. But So there, you're right. Like there is a support, like some big changes and some big stuff is going to get swirled up, but it's going to actually be, supported and somewhat easy to handle, or, easier to handle.
Yeah, for me, trines are the planets can easily and harmoniously talk to and work with each other. It doesn't take a lot of energy input to get what you want out of that energy system, because they're already working with each other. So if you can just tap into that trinity of energy, it's just easy peasy energy to work with. And when they are trying, you want to work with all three of them at once. It's kind of like having a group chat. It's like, okay, all three of you inside of me, how are you working together? What is your mission together? So that's how I like to utilize trines.
Yeah, it is a harmonious type. Let's have a confab.
Let's have a dinner party.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's play some music together. Let's play some beautiful music together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So that's the new moon cycle. So it's going to be an interesting, like the current lunar cycle is the new moon was in Leo conjunct Black Moon Lilith. So that's the energy traveling with us all month, all 28-day lunar cycle for this cycle. And then it's like the new lunar cycle is still kind of going to be Leo energy. It's just the tail end of Leo, right on the cusp of moving into that Virgo Leo void energy. So it, like Georgia was saying earlier, does feel like a closing out of stuff, like getting it all taken care of. A lot of stuff's going to wrap up, I feel like, in this lunar cycle. Come to the surface, rework a lot of connections with like Mercury type things. So it's going to be a powerful one. And then do you guys feel good on the new moon, or anybody else have anything else they want to add to that?
Sorry, I already put the full moon. I thought that you were starting to talk about the full moon.
Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody's said what they have to say about the new moon. Okay. So the full moon.
Oh, actually, I do want to say one more thing. So, it's interesting because, and if anyone's wondering about the full moon that's coming up here at the end of this month, that's going to be in Aquarius. That is in episode 2. So check that out. We go in depth about that, which is a blue moon. So we have two full moons this month in August. And it's interesting because when we have that new moon in Leo on the 14th, that is actually the second Leo new moon.
Right.
So it's really highlighting a lot of lunar emotional energy within our fixed fire collective of Leo.
Yeah, like a double dose to make sure we get to the root of the issues.
Definitely.
Anything that is, emotional that is blocking your capacity for your true soul expression. It's like we get 2 cycles of working on that.
Yes. This is like Sachi was saying, like reclaiming our fire. Reclaiming our fire so that our fire can't be used against us.
Yeah,
exactly. And with Leo, it's our fixed fire. That's our solar self. So it's like, it's the light that you're born with. It's the light that sustains you your entire life. It doesn't change. It's like your unique solar light imprint that you bring to the world that no one else has the same light as you. That's that fixed fire that we're born with.
Yeah. Potent time of the year.
Yes, definitely.
So that will make the full moon in Pisces in September on the 29th. My software says 5:57 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The moon in Pisces, the sun will be in Virgo with a 2. This is significant because it's going to be, the full moon is going to be bringing like full dragon power up to the surface, like 2-degree orb to Aldebaran in Draco. And the moon will be situated on the opposite side of the sun, which is why it's full moon. Equidistant 3-degree orb to Difta or Algenib. Difta in Cetus, Algenib in Pegasus. Those are alignments, not conjunctions. So it's kind of in between those 2 energies. So you're getting the Cetus really deep galactic-y type energy, and the Pegasus energy is always like DNA recoding stuff, like the DNA suit. So that is going to bring up some dragon power to the surface, like ancient dragon power, and recoding the DNA and some really interesting things.
Unicorn codes too.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Pegasus are like the war unicorns. So like everybody has a unicorn guide, but not everyone necessarily has a Pegasus. So usually Pegasus are for like holy wars. They help the angels like anchor more light down and like battle.
Interesting. Pegasus definitely have a powerful purity. Like the origin story of the Pegasus is pretty deep. And it's definitely like very much about purity. You cannot corrupt a Pegasus.
Yeah. It's so similar to dragons too. Like I feel like the dragons are the winged serpents. So they're the reconciled reptoid DNA lineages. And I feel like the Pegasus, and maybe to some extent the unicorns, it would probably be a little bit of a different vibe because I feel like unicorns are connected to timeline work.
Yeah.
But the Pegasus is really a similar vibe to the dragons, like the winged horses, right? So the horses are really grounded. I feel like it's probably connected to Centaurus hybridization type issues, but reconciled. So they can
reconciled equestrian.
Yeah, they can fly. So they're moving back into those angelic realms after doing that recoding work. So I feel like that's why Pegasus is always connected to working with the DNA codes, like your bodysuit, and up leveling or recoding it or bringing your original templates back online, that kind of stuff. So some really ancient coding that wants to come up through that full moon. And, with the full moon, I feel like that is the crescendo moment of the moon work. Like that is the thing that is available to grab, to embody, like, there it is. I touched it. I saw it. And then, the rest of the lunar cycle is like working to really integrate it. Like that energy comes up like a beautiful song. And then you're, trying to remember the lyrics, basically. Get the music on a piece of paper for the rest of the lunar cycle and really I don't like the word manifesting, but that is kind of what it is. Bring it into reality.
Bring it to fruition.
Materialize.
That's it. I like that word.
Materialize.
Materialize it. Yeah.
Yeah. And full moons and Pisces are intense. I mean, Pisces is the sign that connects us to all other dimensions and all other like aspects of being. So it's the most spiritual one of them all. It represents spiritual embodiment. So if you are not in alignment with your own soul and working on your spiritual embodiment, expect this full moon to really bring some emotions to the surface for you to be able to release.
I agree with that. And I also see that through the alignment with Cetus. I feel like Difta is kind of a hard one because it's kind of bringing up more of the stuff that maybe you don't want to see through Cetus. Yeah. So it's like be prepared. Can you point
out Difta on there, Sashi? Sorry, Georgia.
Yes.
I just want to see. It helps to show where Difta is, because
let's see.
Probably what you'll see is it's not in the Aries Cetus cusp that we talk about. It's in the shadow aspect. Like I feel like a lot of Cetus is shadow aspects of Pisces.
There we go. Oh,
so
does it have another name?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That is its other name.
Okay, gotcha.
So I feel like that sort of folds into what you're saying, Georgia, is like it's one of the tougher Cetus transits because I feel like it's shadow aspects of Pisces. It's below the ecliptic, right below Pisces.
Exactly. So
once
it's
again, emphasis on like tail stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's a lot of booties rocking everywhere, that's for sure.
So again, this is going to be like some completion stuff to start to look at, like what cycles am I finishing up here? Because it's like tails are just everywhere right now.
Yeah, and with the sea monster, it's the thing that propels him, which is interesting. With the lion, it's more like his antenna, his balance mechanism. So kind of interesting theme, but different.
Mhm. And it's interesting, every time I get tail stuff that come up in readings, because there's a lot of like Pokemon card attacks that mention tail whap, tail whip. I always take it as like tales that you're telling yourself.
Yeah.
So the other meaning of like pay attention to the tales, like what are the stories that you have been saying and are they still true to you? And by tweaking the tales that you tell yourself, you can also shift your reality, because once you are looking at your past from a different perspective, it changes your trajectory and timeline of the future that you're going into. So for example, like, full moon in Pisces, a tale may be like, oh, as a spiritualist, no one understands me or no one takes me seriously, all of these sort of victim martyr complexes of Pisces. It's like, is that really true? Do you really want to keep holding that story, or do you want to release it and, start telling yourself a different tale?
I love that.
And that's the Uranus game, the reframe. Reframing your reality. I mean, like, is that really true? So that's definitely going on.
Yeah, I feel like with Uranus too, it's like the cosmic tuning fork. So that's really where we get that reframe, because it's reattuning us to like higher celestial codes. I love that reframe with the tail through with that Cetus with the moon as well, because it's really is like those are like those deep, dank, dark, martyr stories that we can tell ourselves, just like you were saying. And I love that reframe, like shifting our narrative.
Yeah.
To shift
so that means those stories come to the surface. It's a full moon. Like they're going to be there for you to reflect on. They will be up in your face. So make sure you're looking at it and you take a step back and you go, maybe I can look at this differently. Instead of going into reaction mode, take a breath and respond. I mean, it could be something that's awesome. Like sometimes those things come in as an aha moment where you're like, oh my gosh, I just realized something. But if it's really stuck, it might come up more like a slap in the face. Like sometimes Pisces stuff can come in as those belief systems that are really stuck. So just keep that in mind.
Yep. And probably important to mention that this full moon is in loose conjunction with Neptune as well. So it sort of double amplifies this energy, because Neptune is at home in the constellation Pisces, and Neptune is also, well, I guess not really in alignment, but close. So that's going to also make it an important time to track your dreams. Have your handy dandy notebook and look for those clues everywhere, because they will be there.
Yeah. And Neptune for me is the significator of your higher self connection. So some really interesting things could come through dreams for that full moon. Absolutely.
I would highly suggest drinking a nice fat cup of Blue Lotus tea before going to bed that night.
That'll do it.
That will absolutely do it. Woo.
I've had lotus tea one time and it was really interesting. Like it's also very for acupuncture, my acupuncturist recommended it to connect the heart to the reproductive organs. Like there's a channel called the Baomai that connects the heart to the uterus in women, and probably the heart to like the solar or the sacral energy center in men. But everybody has that channel, and it really connects that heart to the body, the reproductive organs. So it does make for some really interesting dreams, and sometimes even waking psychedelic experiences as your heart energy connects back in. So I do like that one.
Yay.
Yeah, it feels like a powerful full moon. I think it'll be interesting with the sun hanging out at Aldaba on the other side of the chart opposite the moon too. So
the sun there anchoring and grounding. Drink your Blue Lotus tea, do some gentle somatic exercises, and just go to
meditate.
bed.
Yeah, meditate a little bit. Do some breath work. That'll be a good day. Charge the old bod with some chi and see what wants to come through, because I guarantee something will pop through that day for sure. So that's gonna be fun. Okay, so everybody feel good on moon stuff? We can get into the Mercury meat and potatoes.
I
Let's
think
do it.
so.
Who wants to talk about Mercury? Because I'm more interested in Uranus. Y'all can have Mercury.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about it. I'm wondering if we want to start, I guess, maybe today.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's start today.
Because, or for me, it started on the 23rd. But it's stationed and then it moves retrograde. And let's see. It started retrograde, apparent motion. Okay, there we are, a little bit above the horizon. So we have Mercury retrograde, which I guess this would probably be a good time. Let me actually show a different picture. So it's important to know what Mercury retrograde is, and this actually applies to all retrogrades, not just Mercury. So pull this up. So we have Mercury retrograding. So from our vantage point of Earth, it looks like it is going backwards, and that's what it looks like for all planets that are going retrograde. But in reality, it is moving forward in its orbital pattern. So if I am the planet, I'm going like this. Woo! So it's kind of like a cursive E in the sky. So again, it's apparent motion, and that's how what we were talking about at the beginning with our Mercury retrograde dance party, is that you're not really going backwards even when you regress, even when you yourself are in a retrograde energy. You know, you're still moving forward even if it appears that it's going backwards. So this is what is actually happening in the orbital pattern. From aerial view, it makes this nice little flower. And each planet makes its own little retrograde pattern. All of them are very, very beautiful. Venus's is known as the most beautiful because it makes the flower of life pattern over a certain amount of time, which we're actually in the last petal of Venus's cycle for this time, which we'll talk more about Venus there. But Janine, did you want to pull up on your software to show?
And that you guys can just continue to talk and I'll navigate through it.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that little infographic that I shared was from an article I wrote on my musings page. If anyone is interested in becoming a Scorpion, Eagle, or Phoenix member, you will have access to it. I describe what Mercury retrograde is, go into details about what it means for the collective, and then also do a house by house analysis so that you can look in your specific chart to see how it will influence you personally.
Yeah, so this is today, the 24th, when Mercury is starting to go direct. You can see he's aligned with the tail here. This is the software on my computer. You can see the ecliptic here. So this is the path the sun travels. And you'll just see him make this little loopy loop. And it's just interesting to note because retrogrades will take the planet through areas that aren't always necessarily on their direct route. So I think we had a good question earlier that was like, why is Venus in the Leo Hydra Cancer void, but then in the Cancer Hydra void? It's because she's moving through those areas and she's making this loop. Obviously this is Mercury, but Venus does something similar with a loop that would take him off his natural or his normal trajectory and do a loop sort of in a void space or somewhere that is not on his normal route, so to speak. So that's kind of what he looks like.
Yeah, so when they do the loop-de-loops, they're in different areas of the sky than they normally would be, and different areas of the sky compared to the other planets and the sun, of course, because not every planet moves across the ecliptic, which you can see very easily in Janine's software where the sun is. Look at Venus. I mean, completely different area of the sky.
Venus comes down and does this thing up here, and she will
Mhm.
actually conjunct Acubens right
Mhm.
here. So she made this pass that is kind of way off her normal trajectory. Well, I wouldn't say way off, but off her normal trajectory to make it, she wanted to go through this because
pet
this is
Hydra.
kind of what go pet her pet snake.
Mhm. Yep.
Gonna go integrate some serpent codes. Let's go do it.
Love
So
that.
yeah, that's what these guys are doing. You can clearly see how the little loop actually plays into their retrograde path off the ecliptic. So super fun.
So some of the things I saw with this Mercury retrograde, I thought it was really interesting that it started with the tail of the lion, and you made that really great connection. I'm still learning this term. I just heard of it yesterday. Serasif.
I think it has H in it.
Sherasif.
Sherasif. That's right here.
So, and in connection, so I'm hoping, I'm still grounding this information. So I'm hoping to get it out in a nice way.
This one right here.
It is connected with our Seraphim lineage, which has a lot to do with, they were the founders of the ley lines of our planet. Like they were part of the creators of the ley lines of our planet. And so then Mercury retrograde starts here, and it goes all the way back to Thuban, which I thought was really interesting because Thuban is Alpha Draconis. This is where our time matrix was essentially infiltrated. And a part of that was through the shifting, like the infecting of the ley lines of the planet through music, through altering the music, altering the light language, and altering the kind of golden grids that were being held in place by the seraphim. So I thought that was really profound, because it feels like we're doing major work for recoding all of the mayhem that occurred through these fallen draconian lineages, and really reclaiming that cosmic mother dragon, especially in relation with what Venus has been doing in her journey. So with all of that going on, and then that happens right as the moon is new, right at the tail of the dragon, again, it just feels like we're going through this huge cosmic cleanup of the dragon lineage, and in a huge completion process around really reclaiming the true purity of the dragon and reclaiming the grids on this planet. And then right after the new moon, then Black Moon Lilith cruises through that space. And so it also feels like it's kind of the complete, it goes even deeper, because she's that primordial female that could never, the primordial feminine who could never be tamed, who would never allow herself to be broken, and who has been kind of demonized ever since. So it just, to me, this all felt like, oh my God, this is so powerful. This is a huge reclamation of our deepest power. I mean, the dragon is the primordial everything. And then we see how that dragon energy, as you were talking about, Janine, kind of shows up throughout the rest of the month, and especially with the full moon. So this was my discovery today. And I just thought, wow, we're really doing it, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really
Beautiful. Yeah. So if you feel called to move or go on vacation or whatever it is, trust if that land is calling to you, because that's how, if you're a grid worker, how you actually anchor it in. Vacation can be work too in that way.
Absolutely.
Yep. Grid work can be fun.
Grid work is so much fun. And so, and I've said it before, you'll probably hear me say it again. Using the music that's inside of our own bodies is so important for shifting these timelines, for shifting our narratives around the timelines, for coming into our power, because we literally live in a universe. We are sound beings. And so as we are able to connect with our sacred sound, connect with the music that comes to us naturally, connect with just whatever little fun thing that wants to come through, there's something really powerful in that. And we'll see that as we continue to recode and heal, that we keep coming deeper and deeper into our music as well.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can see. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I had some fun with that one today. I was like, ooh, like.
Yeah. You're so connected through Mercury too because of your Gemini-ness. So
yeah.
I was like, I know you're gonna have plenty. So you and Sashi both, because you have significant Gemini.
We're the Mercurials.
Yes, we are.
And that's why I'm looking at Uranus like, I see you, buddy. I see you, because I'm more connected to
I
you,
see you, baby.
Yeah.
Sticking that Uranus.
We're getting there. Yes. So significant Mercury retrograde conjunctions, or just, I should say Mercury, because not all of them will be Mercury in retrograde, but Mercury retrograde will be conjunct Sun on the 6th. So that's here. You can see there he is. He will be, let's see, Mercury will be direct, but he will be retrograde, or sorry, Mercury retrograde's getting me. There it is. Okay. The 17th, Mercury will already be direct, conjunct Black Moon Lilith.
That's also a day to be careful about what you say.
Yeah, some spicy stuff.
Especially because Mercury retrograde in Leo, there's a lot of roaring energy. So it's like, don't use your roar unless you need to. So be careful of, getting sucked into a roaring competition with anybody, especially with that Black Moon Lilith.
And honestly, like Mercury goes direct on the 16th, like he stations on the 14th, goes direct on the 16th. So on the 17th, he is freshly out of retrograde, and this feels like an attunement moment. It's like the roaring might happen. How are you going to navigate it now that you've been all the way through Mercury retrograde? You've got some new skills under your belt. How are you going to deal with it? The spice might arrive to calibrate that, to make sure you've got that sorted for yourself. So
sometimes we need to roar. It's like we want to be mindful of ourselves, and there's a time for it and there's not a time for it. But that day feels like a time for it. Yeah,
and there's a difference between roaring and projecting it onto somebody. Like you can vent, you can move the energy, that's very cathartic, but getting in a roaring match and projecting it all over somebody else is not the thing. And I feel like that might be how are you expressing yourself? It's going to be sort of pushing your boundary with how you may have learned new ways to navigate that on a higher level. So this day, the 17th, Black Moon Lilith and Mercury will be conjunct, aligned with Thuban and Draco. It's going to be like some.
That's breathing fire day.
Stuff's going to come up to calibrate that day, because Thuban is kind of notoriously known for some low vibe dragon lineages. So that will be an interesting day for sure. And again, it could come through clairvoyant connections too, like, because Black Moon Lilith can be like really stuck cellular low vibe, like some dank ass shit can be held by Black Moon Lilith. And if you're navigating through low vibe dragon lineages, like dragon timekeepers that are manipulating timelines, like you might be doing some attuning of those, let's just call them clairvoyant channels. I know what it is for me. I don't want to like front load anybody else, but you have opportunities to make attunements there and be like, removing these cords, no thank you, you can no longer look at my timeline, you're out, that kind of thing. So it'll be a very interesting energy day that day, with Mercury just going direct, I feel like.
Super powerful. So, Mercury retrograde doesn't always super interest me either, because it just feels so normal. But this one was like, oh my gosh, like this one's super potent.
Spicy. Were either of you guys gals born with Mercury in retrograde?
Yes.
No.
I wasn't. So Sasha, you were. So I feel like people who have Mercury in retrograde in their natal chart, it's way more of a comfortable transit. It's more like, oh, this kind of feels familiar. This is okay. It's like, it's no big deal. people who have Mercury direct in their chart, it's a little more of a, okay.
I think because being a Gemini rising, I tend to get a little bit tongue tied, but other than that, there's nothing. I've never had anything devastating happen during Mercury retrograde, but I also do a lot of stuff during the pre-retrograde shadow to ensure that nothing bad happens. I get my oil change and, make sure everything's all good, back up this, put it on a hard drive.
Yeah.
So I have Mercury in Gemini, and I notoriously burn or cut my hands almost every retrograde.
Really?
Wow. Do you have it in Critica?
No, I actually have it in Ardra.
Interesting. Okay.
Interesting.
But I have like little scars all over my hands because it's like I'll be grading the carrot. I get my finger, like it's just whatever it is. It always, and I'm like, sometimes I won't even know, like, because there's times I pay less attention. And if I don't even know that Mercury's in retrograde, I'll know that it's coming as soon as I like nick my finger.
Oh,
it's a thing.
Ouchie.
I know.
And you're like, I just got the memo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Incoming. So watch out for that, folks.
Yep.
So we get another dose of Mercury and Black Moon Lilith in September. This time, Black Moon Lilith will be in retrograde. You can see, Black Moon Lilith is a very erratic placement. So it does retrograde frequently. It kind of just zigzags back and forth. So the 27th, Mercury will be direct. Black Moon Lilith will be in retrograde, kind of close to where, pretty much smack on where Mercury went retrograde.
Yeah.
So it feels kind of almost like a final psychic zit that wants to just pop. Like, let's just pop the rest of that sucker out there and get it all out on the table. And there is an alignment. It's not quite at Denobola. The alignment I have on the 27th is at Mizar and Ursa Major. So sort of connected to bear lineage things. But, within proximity to Denobola, it's not, Mizar's up here. It's not that far from Denobola as far as an alignment goes. So.
And I always remember too, like stars are orbs. So even if it's not exactly an alignment, it's still getting some of that energy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's a lot of fixed star alignments for Mercury because he starts. Well, let's go. You can just see like he's making his little zigzag path. He's basically going to cross over the Ursa Major stars that he has alignments with, Thuban, and then back over the Ursa Major stars. So we get a little double dipping of things. I think the most significant day, when he stations direct, let's go to the 14th. Can you see him? Yeah, okay. Okay, so 14th, 15th, right there, he is aligned with Thuban on the 14th and Draco, which is up here. So the alignment is perpendicular to the ecliptic, so it's this way. So you can see how the alignments are going to like move all through these Ursa Major stars and then back. But Thuban, he sits there stationed for 2 days exactly at Thuban. So tell me we're recoding low vibe dragon lineages without telling me we're recoding low vibe dragon lineages. That is an intense place to be parked for 2 days.
So, we can also be a little bit on, just there may be, when there's really powerful days like this, recoding days, sometimes other beings on this planet like to also use those times for other reasons, for nefarious things. So, it's a good day to keep your energy really clear and not go wallowing around in the mud to contribute to such things.
Yeah, that would be a day I would be checking in with my higher self and being like, do we need to run some extended energy shielding? Thank you.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. For those 2 days, I would be asking that question because we like get out of my energy. And it would be interesting too to watch kind of what plays out in the collective around those days too. I'm stationed. because remember, station days are like wild cards. It's a
Yes,
great
they
day
are.
for quantum questions, whether the planet is stationing direct or retrograde. Still wild
Yeah.
card energy. So that's y'all feel free to, like, anything else you want to say about Mercury, go for it, because that's all I have to say about
I
Mercury.
think I'm good because
Yeah.
we're at about an hour and a half mark.
Okay.
But yeah, if anyone's interested in learning a little bit more, feel free to check out my musings page. There's lots on Mercury retrograde there.
Yeah, go get it. Go support. Go support. Love it. Okay. Do we want to move on? Do you want to use your Sky app for Venus stuff? Let's do that.
All right.
Yeah, because you've got the horizon. It's easier to see the horizon in yours.
Let's pull her on up.
So Venus is going to be stationing direct in early September. She stations on the 2nd and goes direct on the 4th. So 2 days of station energy. She's in the Hydra Cancer void space when she stations.
Mm-hmm. And we also have some Venus stuff in episode 2 as well.
Yeah, we did a pretty decent dive into that.
Yes, we did. All right. So what date you want me to highlight
Let's
first?
see. Let's go to the 2nd
Of
September.
September.
That's when she stations. There she is. So she cruised back through, kind of following the neck of the snake. And then she's doing her little loop-de-loop up there in Cancer. Yeah. And she gets sort of back on the ecliptic track.
Sorry.
Through the rest of the month. So there is a date. What is that? She stations direct
On the 4th.
aligned with fixed star Ashlesha.
On the 3rd, but yeah.
And also, I know this is interesting for you, Georgia, because you were interested in links, constellation links, for a while. Ashlesha and Lynx are basically on the same alignment.
Oh, that is
perpendicular to
interesting.
ecliptic. Yeah. So she's stationing direct at Ashlesha.
Divine
Lynx.
cosmic secrets.
Yeah.
What has she gone in and learned? What has she recoded? DNA upgrades with the serpent.
Divine feminine reintegrations. Yeah. Bringing back some of that powerful feminine coding. I feel like Lynx too is connected to Scottish lineages, because I think the root, like the animal, traces back to Scottish origins, if I remember correctly from what I was researching.
Yes.
So some really powerful coding comes through Scottish lineages. I think that's super interesting.
We have a lot of Scottish in my family lineage.
Yeah. So some of the significant conjunctions, like Lord Venus this month, you guys, so much stuff about hierogamic union. She will be conjunct asteroid Juno, which for me is a significator of either inner hierogamic union or finding, connecting with a partner that is your sort of genetic equal. Or I don't like to use the word soulmate because I feel like it's overly popularized, but there are such things. But if you think about it more as like an inner union, like that, I feel like that's the more significant thing. Like reintegrating your feminine with your own masculine energy. She will be conjunct asteroid Juno September 9th and 10th.
I mean, that feels significant too, and just like getting really clear, like she went all the way back through this journey and now she's moving forward again, and she's clear on what she wants in her unions. Yeah. Like there's something that feels really grounded about that.
Yeah. But wait till Sashi hits, forward on this, because Venus travels with asteroid Juno all month, like within 1 degree orb all month, and conjuncts asteroid Juno again on September 27th, which we saw that day somewhere else. Where did we see the 27th?
27th
a
was
new
Black
moon,
Moon,
the full moon.
retrograde, Mercury, Leo conjunction. That second conjunction they did.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
That's I think that's the power day. That's like the
You might be
love
right.
power day.
Yeah, you may be right. Okay, I'm gonna circle the 27th.
It's kind of there. I mean, there are multiple power days for sure, but that one's a big one.
Yeah, there might be a couple power days this month.
I think so.
The one in August was just so obvious. It was like, holy crap, there's a convergence of epic proportions. This one feels like it might be spread out over a couple days, but the whole month is going to be super juicy with these two traveling all month together. So they travel into Leo to like in tandem, basically.
Hand in hand, heart and heart.
Hand in hand.
Amazing. In this space between the Divine Mother and the Divine Father. You can't make this stuff up, guys.
Counterpart is traveling with you as your feminine energy reintegrates. So hold that in your heart because it's there. I've had some really interesting dreams already this month. I'm like, I surf stuff in so far in advance sometimes. Like sometimes I can't tell when it's like, am I working on this that's almost landing, or am I this far ahead already? And I feel like with this one, it's like, oh, I'm already surfing this Venus Juno stuff. So
beautiful.
Just keep notes on your dream journals or your meditations, you guys, because sometimes you will surf this stuff in way in advance because you're one of those grains of sand on the cymatic plate that is stabilizing the vibration for the whole group kind of thing. So, you know, life gets
do something
interesting.
really nice for your divine feminine, you know, like get a massage, give yourself flowers, go for a walk, get a new shirt, do something like that. That makes you feel like even more you.
Yeah, it's
and
very
if you have a partner, also do that with a partner, you know, self-care together,
couples massage.
Flowers.
Yeah. Get your partner flowers. Exactly.
Yeah, it does feel very self-care as they're sort of in tandem moving out of Cancer and then into Leo. You come into the full expression of it. So yeah, do all that good nurturing self-care, couples massage, any kind of thing you can do together. Great.
Treat yourself like royalty, and when you do that, you'll find out that the partners that you connect with will also treat you like royalty. They have to set that standard for yourself first.
Yeah. So I think the most interesting, significant fixed star alignment for Venus is on the 13th, which is a hilarious day because it's the divine feminine number. She will be literally conjunct Acubens in the little claw over here. So you see, it's not even really in alignment. They're close enough to be conjunct.
Yeah, I can't even like click on it. There we go.
Yeah. So that's going to be super potent because she's literally like navigating right across that stargate. So that's amazing. And then on the 16th aligns with Hydrobius in Hydra and Dubhe in Ursa Major. So that's sort of a tandem energy alignment. On September 22nd, she aligns with Alterf in Leo, which is where we would consider her officially moving into Leo. And then on the 25th, she aligns with Mirac in Ursa Major. So that feels like a power landing kind of day. Any kind of Ursa Major energy is like, boom, I'm here. So.
And it's interesting, like Venus moves in the front paw of the front left paw. So it'd be like feminine paw of the front while Mercury's leaving masculine of the back.
Oh, that is interesting. Look at that. I tell you what, the symbolism in the sky always amazes me.
I know. Yeah, it's incredible.
I mean, it's like we couldn't write a more intricate and beautiful story. I mean, we are writing it, but at the same time, it's writing us.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the ancient versions of us that coded this was just so amazingly intelligent on so many levels to tell us these stories over time. Like it's incredible.
To help us remember.
Yeah.
And it's, even though, you know, September, we're moving into Virgo season, you know, most of September, there's still so much Leo energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, indeedy. So I feel like Venus is going to have a powerful integration month in September. I think it's going to be lovely. Any of the work you've done during the retrograde is just going to really come in and help you, integrate with your masculine or feminine energy. Really a lovely way. So I think that's fun.
Yeah,
I think
it
it's
can
fun
be.
too.
You got to make
if you've
it
done
fun.
if you've done your retrograde work, definitely.
Yeah.
It'll just drop in because Venus is magnetic. It's like you literally, those things will just magnetize to you as it shifts. So
yeah, and it's right when Mars is moving into Spica, which is like the hand of Virgo.
alignment.
So like
yeah.
if you've done that magnetism work, like boom, it's just gonna fall right in your hand.
Yeah, when Mars is aligning with Spica, it's also aligned with Arcturus because they, in an alignment, they sit basically in the same line from the ecliptic. So
yeah,
powerful Stargate
that
Guardian
is,
things.
yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Spica is more of the softer feminine. Like if you're on that side of the alignment, it's more softer and feminine. And if you're on the Arcturus side of the alignment, it's like power portal guardian type energy. It's slightly different. It's a very different vibe, but it's funny. You can read it in natal charts. It's like, oh, you're more Spica than Arcturus, and like their vibe is completely different. So that's complete sidebar, but I just think that's interesting for those two stars.
I always called it Spica. Y'all call it Spica?
Yeah, it could
might
be Spica. I think it
But
sounds too spiky, so I call it Spica.
I was picking up on Mars's position too and all that. I was like, oh, look at Mars near Spica. It's going to be, because that's connected with Chitra Nakshatra, which is all about, like the gem, creating beauty. It's very artistic. It's very beautiful. So it also feels like, the way our energy is going to be moving is very much like collecting all this amazing Venusian energy and creating beauty and art with it.
Yeah, I think that was a great transition to Mars. Let's just keep going.
Yeah, let's just do it.
Mars and Virgo all month.
Yeah, all month. We got Mars moving to Virgo.
Definitely time to clean your room. Get
Clean
rid of
everything.
Get rid of all the crap. Get rid of all the clutter. Anything that you're not using that's pulling on your vital energy.
Yeah. Take action to bring new healthy habits, patterns, and routines into your life.
Exactly. And as the planet of action in Virgo, it can be very particular. And so it's a good idea to figure out what particular way makes your life easier. So for me, Virgo is a lot about system management. So again, it's your daily routines and your habits and things like that. And if you look at your natal Mars, a really great way is, your natal where Virgo is in your chart, and also working with Mercury of how does system management make sense to me? So for example, if Virgo rules over your 4th house and 5th house, right? You have to make organization and cleanliness an emotional thing and a playful thing. So however way makes sense to you, it's important to make sure that you have these systems in play of like, okay, this is when I'm going to do my laundry. This is how I do my laundry. This is the place where the dirty laundry goes. So that way, when you have these systems maintained, your day-to-day life is the least stressful possible, and that all the mundane activities don't seem like too much work. Because when you have these proper systems in play, it really functions very, very easily. But again, it has to make sense to you. So if you have someone else that's saying like, this is the way that we have to organize the spice rack, for example, it's like, well, that doesn't make sense to me. I'd rather do it alphabetical order, or, by use order or something like that. So make sure you're doing something that makes sense to you, not, maybe what your parents told you how you had to do it, or, an Instagram video that you saw online of the best way to organize. Like, do it in a way that makes sense to you to make your life more heavenly.
I love that.
Yep.
So this is also a good time to write. Like we think of Mercury as kind of like that intellectual. But when Mars is in Virgo, it's also a really great time to write, to create poetry. So, oftentimes I'll tell people to, if you want to write and you haven't been, just start with a 5-minute free write and just let whatever wants to come out. And it doesn't have to make any sense. It can just be like, blah, blah, blah. I hate this. I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I doing this? But if you keep on going, you'll start to find that something does come through. So Mars in Virgo, and really anytime we have anything going on in Virgo is an excellent time for these kinds of activities as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, free writing. And whenever you're working with Mars, it's the healthy channel to let go of any sort of anger or aggression. So when you're writing, you may find like, okay, these are things I need to release.
Definitely. Yeah. And Mars in Virgo is surprisingly sexy. So, this is also a good time to work with that energy in a way that feels good to you. It's like a healthy sexual energy.
Mm-hmm.
And
innocent sexual energy too.
Other side. Yes.
Yeah.
Which to me is that healthy sexual energy. So allow yourself to explore in a healthy way what wants to come through in your realm that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
it's interesting.
Organization is sexy too.
Yeah. It's almost
Did you
like
just say, I'm sorry, Janine.
No, go ahead.
Did you just say organization is sexy?
Yeah. Organization is sexy.
There.
Cleanliness is sexy. It's like, even if we're talking about the actual, like coitus energy, is like, who wants to be intimate in a dirty bedroom? Who wants to be intimate with someone who's a complete slop?
Right.
Not many people. So, Virgo and Mars Mars and Virgo is very much like, if you're trying to magnetize a certain energy, make sure that you're making a comfortable environment for those types of experiences to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Go do all the personal hygiene, trim the bushes,
It's true.
Those kinds of routines too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little manscaping.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, it does feel, Mars in Virgo does feel sort of very masculine, wants to integrate with the feminine anyway. So yeah, that all makes sense.
Masculine attracted to innocence as well.
Yeah,
or the playful aspect.
That is a sexy time of year. You're right, Georgia. A lot going on there.
This time of year, as we start to approach, I find that I'm always extremely creative. Like sometimes I almost feel like I have to really, I have to stay really grounded. Otherwise it can almost become manic because it's just, it's like a torrential downpour of creativity.
Kind of like overdoing, like your Mars needs to calibrate a little bit.
I
think Sashi and I was talking, like Virgo people tend to be like the kitchen witches,
Oh yeah.
So I could see how the creative streak could, in the domestic sense, could really come into overdrive. That does make a lot of sense.
For me, during Virgo season, I get so much done. Like I love Virgo season every single year because, like, wow, it's just like I get everything done before autumn time. Basically, it's just like such an efficient time. For me, I have to be careful of burnout more than anything, becoming like, overworking type energy, which is also something that Virgos need to be careful of in general. Anyone with a Virgo placement, I mean, anyone in general. But especially with the particularity of Virgo, to not, nitpick too much that it exhausts you. But yeah, I love Virgo season. I mean, Leo to Virgo season is like such a good time in general. It's my favorite time of the year. I also like Gemini season. That's like my creative time because I'm a Gemini rising. But yeah, Virgo season is always a pleasant experience on my end.
That's interesting. I don't feel it quite so personally because Virgo's spanning my 11th and 12th houses. So
for me, it's
a
third,
different
fourth, and
vibe
fifth.
for me. Yeah. See,
yeah. So I get
it's
a lot.
Slightly different vibe. Yeah.
Plus, I get Jupiter activations and yeah.
Virgo spans my second and third houses.
yeah.
So
It's
I
very
do,
personal.
I
The
think,
creativity.
mhm. And I always feel very musical at this time of year. Like when that
Ah.
Virgo season hits, like,
Interesting.
I just feel super musical. So I think we're on to something, ladies.
Mhm. Good time. So in regards to Mars in Virgo, he has a significant conjunction with asteroid Lilith, not Black Moon Lilith, but asteroid Lilith on September 26th, which is a slightly different vibe than our friend Black Moon Lilith. Not extremely different, but slightly
It's
different.
not popping up, but usually it does pop up.
Well, that's okay. Just as long as, you know, the date's been noted,
26.
26.
So that will be here, closer to Spica Spica.
So the asteroid Lilith will be hanging out there. Spica Spica on his way to the Arcturian alignment. There was Spica. So some of his significant fixed star alignments are at the beginning of the month on the 2nd with Aldebaran and Draco, which is the one that's right next to Supergalactic Center. Mars actually, I think, had his alignment with Supergalactic Center. Well, will have at the time of this discussion at the end of August, like the last day of August. He's aligned with Supergalactic Center. And then on overnight between the 1st and the 2nd will be aligned with Aldebaran and Draco. So Mars and Dragon energy at the beginning of September. And then on September 12th, aligned with Vendemiatrix in Virgo, which I feel like that star holds some challenging connotations. So kind of be on the lookout that day. I feel like Vendemiatrix holds like some of the Virgo aspects that are very self-deprecating. They internalize their angst, the OCD-ness, that kind of stuff. I feel like that can really express through that star in particular. So that's something to keep an eye on around the 12th. And then my favorite alignment for Mars this month is September 17th at Algorab in Corvus constellation, the Crow. That is a powerful, powerful, powerful alignment through Corvus, because Corvus is like messenger of the gods, right? He's the what do they call it? The three-eyed raven. You know, it's like connected to this. It's connected to the void is what it's connected to be honest.
Absolutely.
I've been seeing a lot of crows and ravens lately. So now I know it's probably a precog for whatever this is happening in the middle of September.
So the void is a very interesting place, non-place. And I feel like that is one of the souls that emanate through that Stargate are very adept, multidimensional travelers. It's an incredible alignment. So as Mars is transiting that, some people may get activations if they have that star lineage. I just think it's going to be a fun transit for me personally. So I'm all excited about that one.
Woohoo!
Nice.
I don't know if you guys have ever had experiences in the void, or any of our listeners that have popped into the void, like in an astral travel, or you know, like you're dozing off into the dream space and then all of a sudden you're just like, holy shit, where was I? That's the void.
Nowhere. Yeah.
Nowhere and everywhere.
Exactly.
And people who, it's not by accident that you go to the void. It's people are either taken there or they are connected to that space through a lineage, and you have a high capacity to recode timelines and realities when you go there, because it's the place of everythingness and nothingness, where all timelines are present, and you can just, you know, being there consciously is a recoding in and of itself. So you're connected to that space and you are literally still walking around on the planet. Kind of a big deal. So for some people, they may have, you know, void experiences on that day, or you just may, if you have connections to that lineage, you may get activated because it's Mars, it's not the sun, but you may get activated if you have sort of that lineage in your birth chart.
Mhm.
So if Mars is aligning that day with something else in your natal chart, pay attention on that day. Feel good about that?
Yeah,
Anything
that
else?
sounds great. This will be aligning with my Pluto.
Woo. Woohoo.
Mhm.
And
For me, Jupiter and I'm on Quelli.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's an interesting balance. Thank goodness Jupiter's there to make it a little bit more fun.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Jupiter does have that jovial fat uncle happiness.
I love Jupiter.
Me too.
Brings the bigness to the table for sure.
Yes, he does.
So it won't be this month, but next month Mars will be aligned with Spica and Arcturus like a couple days into October. So it's not on the chart. We're not going to talk about this month, but you can kind of see how he's cruising into that alignment.
Mm-hmm.
So you will probably start feeling that alignment towards the end of this month, but he will not be exact with Arcturus until October.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that to look forward to because Arcturus is a powerful stargate.
Yes.
Yes.
Good deal. Do we feel like moving on to Jupiter? I think
that
a lot
was a
of
good
these
segue to Jupiter.
Yeah, a lot of these outer planets aren't really, there's not a lot of changes going on.
Mm-hmm. They're pretty much
Jupiter.
just see episode
two, yeah, for a lot of the stuff. And we'll let you know when we're gonna just move on with some of these. Jupiter is going retrograde, so we will talk about him.
Yes, that is important. Well, I guess let's start on the first. Here's Jupiter.
Hanging out in the Cetus Aries void. Very close to Uranus.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, buddy.
That's probably where Jupiter likes to be, too. Very close to Uranus.
I'm not touching that one.
That's okay. Jupiter will.
We're going to have to get X-rated version of the True Sky.
I guess
that's for the after show.
That's true. Yeah, after party.
Goodness. So Jupiter's one of those that's he will be making his retrograde debut with the rest of the crew at the beginning of the month. He stations on the 3rd of September and goes retrograde on the 5th within a 1-degree orb to Almach in Andromeda constellation. These are alignments with Almach and Menkar. So that's a pretty powerful place, in my opinion, to be stationing.
For
Aries,
sure.
Cetus void and Andromeda and Cetus energy. Holy moly.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Jupiter's not messing around for this retrograde.
And like looking at the whole month of everything we've already described, and now here's Jupiter, the great benefic, cruising back. Like we already cruised through some of our galactic memories. Now we're going to cruise back again. We're going to like dip back in and do the next layer. So really interesting things are being revealed to us right now.
And we already had so many activations within the last couple months in this space. And now Jupiter's here, just expanding it, making it more prominent and making it more fun.
Yeah.
Making sure we have a good time as we cruise through all these things.
Yeah, I feel like Jupiter is going to peel some layers, especially for people with Andromedan lineage, like ancient Andromedan origins, like the Aquiferion lineages and some of probably Andromeda Galaxy. It's not aligned with Andromeda Galaxy, but because it's an Andromeda constellation, I feel like some of those lineages can be included in it.
Absolutely.
So I feel like it is going to be a big expansion especially for Andromedans that have deeply repressed galactic memories, that kind of thing. So that'll be a quantum leap. People start remembering that level of stuff on the planet. Whew, that changes the morphogenetic field real fast.
Absolutely. And for the things that might not be super fun, Jupiter will give you the tools to work with it in a positive way.
Yeah, and whatever comes up, you are definitely going to know yourself better on many levels of all more stations of identity across the universe. You will be in touch with definitely more aspects of yourself and know yourself a little bit better. So go Jupiter. I really, it's a little intense, but I really like what he's bringing to the table for his retrograde. He's going to be in retrograde until the end of December. Around 30th. Yeah.
Quite some time.
Some time. Yeah, usually this end of the year, everybody's partying in retrograde for about, 4 to 6 months. We've got a bunch of planets all going in reverse.
Yeah. So it's
not unusual right now.
So he still stays in this space. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That feel good with Jupiter? I feel like we can probably move on with some of these really fast.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of this the last transit report too. So
yeah, that's true. We talked a lot about Almac and Menkar in episode 2.
Yes.
So if anybody wants more in-depth stuff on that, I'm going to go back and put timestamps in, and that will make it easier to find things too. So that would be something we talked about more in episode 2. So he makes his exact alignment on September 28th, the retrograde pass over Almac and Menkar, those 2 fixed star alignments. He makes that exact alignment on the 28th of September, so at the end of the month. So that might be a real point where some of these Andromedan lineages get the wake-up call, like ping. You might have those things coming through around then. And then he'll make another direct pass over it. So that'll be later though, towards the end of the year. So peeling some layers. Good deal. We want to talk about Chiron a little bit. Do we want to talk about Chiron?
I think we hit Chiron our last episode pretty well.
He's doing the same thing as he was in episode 2.
Yeah. So go see episode 2 about Chiron.
Hanging out between alignments in Pisces between Saturata and Alpheratz. He's retrograding towards Alpheratz. He will be in retrograde until around Christmas, a little bit after Christmas. So interesting time for
season
him
usually like lasts through the end of calendar years.
Yeah, but that's just a really interesting day, like the day after Christmas. He stations direct. I'm like, okay, Chiron, I see you. Make it through winter solstice and you go direct. That's awesome. All right, let's move on to Saturn. I think that's another one where we can just be like, go see episode 2.
Yep. We talked a lot about Saturn retrograding in Aquarius and Saturn in Aquarius in general.
Yeah. Karmic stuff coming up to the collective. And, I would say right now we are really seeing it. Like the stuff that unleashed, what was it, yesterday at this point? I was like, here comes Saturn.
Yeah.
Which thing are you referring to?
All the stuff in the news about the new variant. And I'm like, here it comes.
Okay.
Like, go look at all the wordplay they're using for what they're calling it. Like, just,
government,
it's all there.
Yeah. Government misuse of science and technology is Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. If it could be like, a headline.
Yeah. So the significant fixed star alignment that Saturn retrograde is having in September is with Enif and Pegasus on September 19th. And that, again, Pegasus alignments are about the DNA bodysuit. So if y'all are seeing the bigger picture there, it's like they're trying to manipulate the DNA bodysuit. This is Saturn stuff coming to the surface.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Oh, so then I also saw something about, I'm going to look for it right now. Something about the water in Japan. Aren't they going to start to pour like the nuclear waste from Fukushima like into the ocean?
Precious Japan, no.
And so that also feels like that misuse of technology, like what you were speaking to, and in the water bear, in the water pour. I was like, are you kidding me right now?
That is literally the worst possible thing you could do ever right now at any time.
And the currents of, Japan's oceans go straight to Hawaii.
Of course. Yeah. They're trying to destroy that Stargate.
Yeah.
There's a
We need
lot
some
going on with
Alolan Grimers. There's like a special Pokemon that, so Alola of the Alolan region is like based after the Hawaiian region. And there's a special kind of Grimer, which are these like things that live in the sewers. And they evolved on the Alolan Islands to eat nuclear waste byproducts and spillage. So for any Pokemon trainers out there, summon your Alolan Grimers.
There's just a lot of ritualistic things. Like I kind of had a feeling it was going to be a really interesting couple months with some of these transits we're having. Like you're going to see, it's like all the stuff that has been hidden, they're just going to start flinging it, like flinging stuff out into the collective. But the collective is so connected right now, and we share information so fast. It's going to be like the collective, and this isn't a bad reference, but the collective is going to be like the Eye of Sauron in a good way, to where all of us are just going to turn around and be like, we see you.
Yeah.
We are not standing for this. And everybody that has an outlet to take action will do that. And, to see the depths of how they manifest their timelines, that's the real dots that need to be connected. That all these things playing out in the collective is how they do their rituals to manifest their timelines. And it's by generating fear and, things that hurt and maim, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Pain programs, fear programs, and also you will see how you accidentally are a part of it based on what you eat, based on what you buy. You really have to pay attention to all the spellings on your, everything on your food. Don't drink Mountain Dew, obviously. Hopefully everyone knows that already.
Yeah, right. Not only because it's poison, but the
not
symbolism.
It's disgusting and has a bunch of dyes that are linked to various cancers and infertility, but
their plan is always multifaceted. Like it is symbolic with the wordplay. It is a toxin for your body, and it's there's more layers than that. But
it's manipulative, feeds on our innocence and the fact that we do care. Becomes like
not to mention
a loose harvest.
The food that, like the corn that makes the sugar for the drink, is like all subsidized, like it's all paid for by the government. Syrup, like the layers are so,
it's all GMO corn too. Which is the native people's sacred plant as well.
So the fuckery is deep, y'all, and it's just basically start making your own juice and
start growing your own food.
Drink water.
Have air purifying plants.
As local as you can be. And don't drink water marked liquid death.
Oh, for God's sake. I saw that the other day in the store. Worst. I was like, who thought that was a good, oh wait, I know who thought that was a good
we know
idea.
exactly who.
How about no? Because what are you going to do? You pour that down the sink. If you decide, you're just like, you just think about cymatics and charging anyway, I could go into a spiral here
we definitely could.
Yeah.
Honestly, we should probably do some episodes on maybe some astrology conjunct topics. True Sky Crew conjunct topic.
We're going to talk about life, and we'll relate it to astrology a bit as we go along.
So that was Saturn related. So there's some angsty stuff coming up. When you start connecting the dots, it can feel a bit disparaging, like overwhelming, because they've been playing this game for a long time. So you just kind of got to look at it all and go, well, you don't have to look at it all, but you can look at it as a bigger picture and go, okay, it's fuckery. Just put it in the category of fuckery, and where can I unfuck it? That's it.
Exactly.
Where can I do things?
Right. Don't co-create with it.
Right.
Don't co-create with it.
this is literally a mastery school that we're in.
Mhm.
And this very thing, it's like, how do I remain neutral and loving and aware and not put my head in the sand? And so, I mean, it's really holding, like, it's holding everything and being able to, like, not be knocked down by it. You know, like, literally, like, I might cry about the state of the world, but I'm still going to make my garden beautiful.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
yeah.
I still drink the best spring water I can buy, you know. And that's sort of related to this Pegasus alignment on the 19th with Saturn. It's like, just do things that are not in the transhumanism agenda, like grow your own food, or go work with an organic gardener in your neighborhood, or go to the farmer's market, or you know, do breath work. I mean, breath work is amazing for alchemizing toxicity in the body. I mean, it can be very practical solutions. But Saturn really does want you to take like a good hard look at this stuff, because she's in retrograde. She's like, you got to see it. You got to see it, because that's the only way you can do something different with it.
Right.
And you got to know that this is how they work their manifestation. They don't utilize source energy the way people connected to the organic light can.
Exactly. We are their source. They take it's energy vampirism.
Yeah.
So they siphon energy from light beings, people who remember their light.
Yeah. So they're in a closed loop system.
Mm-hmm.
And you just basically, you have to let them entropy out. And that is the way you release that model, is like, we're not going to play your money game. We're not going to play your, you know, big ag game. We're not going to play your destroying of town. Like, that's going to stop.
Yeah.
And you're just going to have to either get in alignment, because we're going that way, or you're going to get the fuck out.
Right. And again, because these are energy siphoning systems, even fighting against them can sometimes feed them. So if you don't feel like it is your direct mission to be on the offense, then then don't scream out into the void or complain or whatever. It's part of it is, you know, it's like the eye of Sauron sort of thing, but part of it is like, when they are no longer being observed by us, by the collective, they cease to exist. So part of it is like no longer even giving them our consciousness or acknowledging them. And it's like, it's such an interesting kind of catch-22, because you have to acknowledge it to reject it, but it collapses,
and that's as far as you
no
need
longer
to go.
Are observing it anymore.
You have to see it to make a different choice. You
have to be aware.
Your money is really, I feel like, one of the biggest things you can use, and you're like, I'm going to support organic food. I'm going to support local businesses. I'm not going to go to Walmart, hit them in the pocketbook. Seriously.
Exactly.
And then let their system fall down. It's not about fighting them directly. I did a bunch of stories about that, because railing against it is also giving it energy.
It's feeding
take your energy away and put it towards things that are in the organic system.
Exactly.
It's like what we want. We don't fight against what we don't want.
Right.
All right. Exactly. It's like if you've ever been in an abusive relationship or a narcissistic relationship, it's like, you know, telling them consistently what they're doing wrong doesn't change their behavior. It just ensures that you stay around with them, you know, because hoping that you're going to change their behavior or something like that.
Right.
So don't feed the beast. Don't feed it your money, your energy, your attention. Notice it, collapse it, laugh at it, and focus on your own timeline.
Yeah, make the best choices you can. That's all Saturn ever asks.
Yeah.
Is make the best choice you can and just keep taking steps.
And work towards your goals, your long-term goals.
It wants us to be sincere. Just be really sincere, like what it is you need to do and what your heart's really telling you.
Yep. And Saturn in Aquarius just means all the shit. I mean, this is why it's all showing up in the collective.
Yeah.
Why it's everywhere out there. It's like,
and in retrograde, you know, that nefarious shit can't hide. It's like,
that's when it's so
really
obvious.
So
yeah, it really is so obvious.
Yeah. So Saturn's spicy this month.
It's true.
I feel like, well, in August, hopefully she'll simmer down a little bit through September, but let's see. Saturn.
I mean, we have.
She's still in retrograde
Uranus
until early November, so we got a ways to go.
It's gonna be a while. But I think it's gonna be intensified by Uranus's retrograde, because Uranus being the ruler of
Yeah.
Aquarius, it's like
Yeah.
bringing into like it emphasizes what's going on in Aquarius. So for me, like the Saturn energy is going to be more prominent, especially in Tarian themes, which is material reality, how material reality is being manipulated.
Yeah. I see both Saturn and Uranus as the rulers, because Saturn's like the
For me,
the
it's
traditional.
co-ruler.
Yeah, Saturn's
co-rule.
traditional ruler, yeah.
And Saturn's even like more comfortable in Aquarius than in Capricorn.
Yeah,
In
I think
Vedic astrology.
it's the cooler, weirder, more awesome Saturn.
Yeah, it's definitely the more progressive Saturn, I would say.
Yeah.
Saturn and Capricorn is just nose to the grindstone, get shit done.
Yeah.
It's
Get in there and get
definitely
to
more
work.
intense.
Yeah.
It's
So let's
definitely.
just keep going since we're talking about Uranus. Let's just shift on over because he's going retrograde at the end of this month, August. So he will be in retrograde as we go into September. He's technically in Taurus. He's kind of in this Aries void space / Taurus area. So we got like this touch of like grounding. Uranus can be a tough one to ground too. He is kind of some erratic, wild energy. And then he's going to start moving back towards the Aries Cetus void. He's like, you ain't done with this galactic stuff, y'all. Like, get back in there. Moving back towards Jupiter too, might I add, who's also moving into some of that deep galactic stuff. So
yeah, because here's Taurus. The picture overlay is a little bit misleading, but here's the constellation Taurus right here. And here's the constellation Aries. Uranus is, in this void.
So the down in that foot is where I would consider the first alignment, like where you would designate him actually coming into Taurus. So he's kind of like right at the cusp of one of those alignments. So he's, just touching it, and then he's going to start backing up.
Back into Aries.
This is literally like a touchdown. And now I'm going back to Aries Cetus to make y'all uncomfortable again.
Yeah, for sure.
Just to bring some more weird up from the depths. I love Uranus as an archetype. I have learned so much from Uranus as a planetary archetype because he is like a gatekeeper to your deeper subconscious. If you can't navigate the Uranus level of the psyche, you cannot do the Neptune or Pluto level work. He's really keeping you safe from going that deep if you do not understand how to quantum recode your reality. Like we were talking earlier, I think Sashi was talking about, you got to reframe your reality. You got to look at things a different way. You got to, okay, how is this working for me? Right? That's what Uranus brings to the table. And he will make some crazy shit show up that doesn't feel like it's working for you to reframe it. Right. And it's a matter of like, okay, this is teaching me about how things manifest, because Uranus can be awesome. Like you could win the lottery. That's a Uranus thing. He's going to bring something new into your life. Or it could be like being in a plane crash. That's also Uranian. That is going to change your life in a major way. It's something new happening, but it is not something that you would want to happen, right?
Right.
So he teaches you to take responsibility for the energy in the deep psyche out at the Pluto level and the Neptune. I feel like it's more like Pluto and beyond, technically, because the Neptune level is kind of more your connection to your higher self. But if you cannot look at your reality objectively and reframe it and just go, okay, well, I know I create my own reality. So where's that coming from, Uranus? Then you can't play the deeper game in the deeper psyche. And he will not let you go any further. So he can be a really interesting character, especially moving back into the Cetus Aries energy.
Very interesting.
Yeah. But he's my favorite. I've learned a lot through him. He's one of my favorite planets.
Yeah, I like Uranus.
Yeah. He's kind of like, if you had to describe him, he's like a subconscious Mercury and Venus put together. When your Uranus activates as an archetype, it's like your body can just conduct codes from higher dimensions. You don't have to think about it. It's not mercurial in the way that you know it through the upper 3 chakras. It's like you feel it in your body. You're like, I went out at sunrise and I felt the sunrise. I felt the codes coming through at sunrise. That's Uranus.
And that's why Uranus is like that tuning fork, like that celestial tuning fork.
Yes. He's high technology, right? Your
Mhm.
body is the highest form of technology there is.
Yes, it is.
He will teach you how to wield that responsibly by any means. Like I did a post the other day. I'm like, he is like a chaotic, neutral Dungeons and Dragons character. You never know what he's going to do, whose team he's going to be playing for. Well, you do, but he can hold some of your gnarliest past life stuff that you have to recode. He can also hold your very high organic light body activations. Just depends on what you got down in that subconscious.
Right when you were saying that, Loki totally popped up, and I'm like,
yeah,
no, give
the
Loki
trickster.
to Mercury, but no, I think Loki has some Uranus energy there too.
He totally does. Yes, he's an interesting.
You'll get whatever version of me that you need to align to your highest timeline. And you have to be willing to play the game.
Yep. Because it's your game. You design the game. He's just keeping you on track.
Exactly.
Yep. So that's he's not doing much more than that. That's enough. He doesn't have any planetary conjunctions. He doesn't have any fixed star alignments in September. And he'll be retrograding into January, till the end of January, really, in 2024. So he'll be doing it all the way through the new year. Well, the Gregorian New Year. Let's be clear on that.
Calendar.
So good times. It could get weirder in the collective initially, like when he pops into retrograde.
Sure.
I think we're already surfing it in. I think that's partially why we're seeing stupidity
feels like
surfacing.
that too.
Yeah, they're trying to anchor stuff.
Yeah. Backwards science tech.
Yeah.
Backwards
Let's
revolution.
put Neuralink in your head. Here,
Yeah.
have some more nanobots in your blood. No, thank you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
I'm even like the revolutionary aspect of trying to get people to protest and things. You're going to see a lot of false energy in that regards as well.
That's kind of a misuse of energy. Yeah. You want to use that energy to activate your light body. Be like, okay, where do I need to go in here and do some work? Because we know protesting doesn't necessarily get the job done.
Right. You can't fight the power. First of all, they have no power. It's about finding your own power. And that's it. And creating your reality. That's it.
Is truly futile.
Yeah. Don't smash yourself against a brick wall.
Yeah. Big lessons from Uranus.
Yep.
I will be back in 1 second, guys. Keep going.
You got it.
Can we move on to
through the outer
Neptune?
planets? Yeah, because they're kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Neptune's doing the same thing. Neptune's going to be
still retrograding.
Yeah, go see episode 2. Still hanging out between alignments with Sheet and Marcab in Pegasus alignments. Neptune will be retrograding until early December. That's about it. He's just chugging right along. Same thing with Pluto.
Yep, same thing with Pluto. Pluto has been chilling in the void between Sagittarius and Capricornus.
Yeah.
And slowest moving planet.
Furthest out.
Or largest orbital, I should say. Yeah. Furthest out. Longest orbital from our vantage point.
Yeah. He just is
really not doing much
out there.
Yep.
He's separating from Aquila, constantly, like Altair, fixed star Altair and Aquila, an alignment with that. That was an interesting alignment because Altair is kind of like the astral zoomer. I call it the astral zoomer. I'm like where collectives meet up and collaborative groups, royal lineages, and have it's like that kind of. So he's separating from that. So you might still be feeling it because he moves so slow, like attunements to being able to do that, kind of have that skill set. from a
Mhm.
deep lineage place, but it's waning at this point. So
It
he's
is, yeah.
moving towards the star Deneb Ocab, like an alignment with Deneb Ocab, which is the heart of Aquila. So as he gets closer to that, I feel like that will be more interesting, but not this month. He's still just kind of cruising that way.
Mhm.
And he'll be
Yeah,
in
that's-
retrograde until October, like third week in October 22nd, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's been
So-
interesting having Pluto just chilling out in the void for so long.
Mhm.
No. Not really Capricorn, not really Sag, like going between
Mhm.
Earth and fire, just kind of hanging out in between.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Getting us prepared for what's going to happen when Pluto goes into Capricorn.
Yep, because all the systems are going to change. As a Plutonian, I am so ready for it. I'm ready to watch it crumble from my organic garden.
I love that. Me too. Sit in my
Mhm.
hammock,
Yep.
watch the show.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be an intense one for the people who are not prepared.
That's true.
Yeah.
And if you haven't done your work, it's okay. You'll come back. And hopefully you
Yeah.
remember next time.
You will.
Yep. So let's move on to the lunar nodes and start wrapping it up.
Yep. You might want to pull up your software, Janine, because I don't get the noties on here.
Let's see if mine, yeah, I think mine does. Let's see. Let me go to screen share. All right. There's the south node. Let's talk about the north node first, since that's what's on the list first. What's the north node doing? Well,
Which we did talk about the nodal shift into Pisces.
there it is.
North node into Pisces on episode 2 as well. So if you want some more information on that, that is where you'd want to
turn
look.
that ecliptic horizontal. It's just angled through there. So yeah, north node had an alignment with Andromeda Galaxy like end of July, early August. So it's kind of waning. It's kind of at that 2-degree orb mark, waning, separating from it. So the influence of that is kind of, we're at the tail end of that. And he's just cruising. He's just cruising, heading towards Chiron, even though Chiron's retrograding. That's about it.
Yeah.
He's just chugging along. So we're still, I mean, North Node in Pisces is still moving towards spiritual things, just nothing super alignment wise going on. I think we have I mean, Andromeda Galaxy energy is such big energy. I feel like you need a couple months to just sit and integrate that. So thank you, North Node, for being chill. The South Node, however, is approaching Arcturus. Like, what day is, let me pull up the animate button here. Okay, so this is at the end of September when Mars, like telling you, end of October, Mars and the South Node and Arcturus are going to be in alignment. Oh, baby, it's going to be spicy. It's going to be awesome. It could be awesome. Could be a little bit karmic if you've got some stuff from past lives to work out, but it could be like taking actions to go reintegrate past life skill sets too. And Arcturus is opposite Andromeda Galaxy by like a 5-degree arc. So Arcturus is considered like portal guardian to Andromeda as far as like, you know, like how we have Sirius and Vega is like a portal. Arcturus and Andromeda Galaxy are like that as well. So when Mars is here, it's going to be like Gandalf. Like whoever's got that Gandalf, you shall not pass. They're going to get activated to become like to stand in their full power of like sort of that Stargate Bridge Guardian activation type stuff. I think that's going to be really interesting.
That
So
is
that's on
very
the
interesting.
26th that actually happens.
And what else
here.
did we say is happening on the 26th?
I think is it the sun? Sun is aligned, like 25th and 26th, the sun is aligned with supergalactic center in Aldebaran Draco. So like quantum dragon energy recoding opportunity. So that's pretty powerful. That's why I was like, I'm not sure if the 26th is going to be the power day or if the new moon is going to be the power day, because both of them feel pretty. And then also, what did we say that? Did we said the 14th? That's the new moon is the 14th, the 27th. So it might be like 25th, 26th, 27th might be like a little power portal
That
action.
whole week. Yeah.
Strong. And strong for the masculines as well, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Our masculine aspects.
I'm going to put 27th question mark on our power day. Yeah. So I feel like you're going to feel that surfing in all month too, like the South Node surfing into this alignment because he moves slow. He kind of like looking at here. I'll just back it up. Let me just do the 5 months and then we'll go forward. Where did it move it to? Way over there. Okay. Wait, why did it go to the other side? I swear sometimes the software is so weird.
Mercury retrograde. That happens with me.
It's not
software,
Mercury retrograde.
Mercury
it's the
will
software.
move. Okay, yeah.
It's weird.
For me, it happens too, and it's like Mercury the most will just be like some random place and then come back.
So this is great because you can see this is almost horizontal. The ecliptic is almost horizontal here, and you can see the alignment perpendicular, Spica and Arcturus. The South Node kind of goes like right there all month. Wow. He wobbles. He goes a little bit back. He's like, oh, I might back up a little bit. I might just hang out here for a while. Sorry. Things a little funny to navigate. And then he finally aligns with it on the 27th. Well.
Well, we have a powerful month ahead.
Yes, we do.
Yes. So Mars will be sailing in. Let's see what day they're actually conjunct, because I think it's like the 2nd. Yeah, the 2nd. So that's gonna be fun in October. Sailing into that. Arcturian people with Arcturian lineage, like still kind of in their past life folio that hasn't fully been accessed yet. That's coming up. That'll be coming up for some folks. That'll be fun. I feel like you can do it in a very empowered way. Although, look, here's asteroid Lilith joining the party. So it could be there could be some, feels in here. Move some anger, move some emotion, do some tapping, do some emotion code, move that stuff out of the way that's blocking you accessing that part of your lineage, and go get it and integrate it. It's going to be super powerful.
Go for a walk.
Yeah, it feels kind of like go scream in a pillow and then go for a walk. Or do some, some of those people that are somatic practitioners that are like, turn on some, I don't know, Viking metal music and like just mosh it out and then go for a walk. Go integrate it after that. And yeah. Because a lot of times that stuff just clogs up the pipe of you being able to access that. So, what do y'all think? Any parting thoughts? Completing thoughts? Let's not say parting thoughts.
I think we did it.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Remembering to watch our speech, to use our roar with consciousness, to engage in our somatic practices, to watch to shift our daily routines and get into our diet and exercise or whatever it means for you. Any other little recaps?
Embrace all of your emotions. Move the energy. Yeah.
Pay attention to your dreams.
Roar when you gotta
Definitely.
roar. Yep. Watch your
Mhm.
dreams.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Walk
during
away
the
when
full
you need to
moon.
walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
This is
don't
a big
roar at energy
confirmation.
siphons.
Yeah, don't
Because
rage
it'll
at the
just like,
collective.
yeah,
That
it will
feels
just
very pertinent.
take your firepower away and use it to destroy an island.
It's
Yeah,
like
Jeez.
use your roar to reclaim.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Claim your territory.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Start a little window herb garden. Like I feel
Mhm.
like, you know,
Anything.
if you're mad
You can
about
do
the
it with like no
situation,
space.
do what you can do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That
There's so
feels
much
like-
information on how to become more self-sufficient, how to homestead, how to organic garden with like a 1 foot by 1 foot space.
And if you don't have room to do it, make friends with somebody who does.
Exactly.
Go join like a
Mhm.
community garden.
A
Like
co-op, yeah, community
it
garden.
can be anything.
There's also woofing, like worldwide something of farmers where people will let you stay at their house
Oh.
farm for free if you help out in the farm or their garden, their organic garden. Sometimes you
Mhm.
get paid in free food, you know, and things like that. You get free lodging. I've had friends who have done it. And there are so many things. So if you've been telling yourself tales that you can't do this, you can't do that, now is the time to change your tale.
Mhm.
Ooh, that was a
That was good.
finishing statement.
And take some time off social media with Saturn retrograde and all this
Yeah.
information pouring through. Give your nervous system a break.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I've been feeling that one hard. Like I can
Me
feel
too.
that freaking phone sucking my energy where I'm like, I've got to turn this thing off more.
Yeah.
Go sit outside. Go outside. Just go outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That'd be if that's the only Virgo thing you can do, go outside, sit
Mhm.
under a tree. That's enough.
Yeah.
That is enough.
Mhm. Learning to forage is another thing that you can do.
Such a
Again,
fun
you don't
one.
have to garden, you don't have to do anything. You can just go look. Our planet is abundant. It is always providing. You just have to know where to look.
Mhm.
Foraging is so much fun. And then
Mhm.
making something out of what you know, it's
Mhm.
just, well, look at
Makes
it.
you
It's a
feel
patch of
so in
nettles.
tune with
And make some
nature.
nettle
Yeah.
tea. Oh, it's so
Mhm.
good.
And it helps you realize how abundant nature really is. And
Yeah.
all the, the hysteria and things, and you realize how manufactured that all is.
Right, the scarcity mindset. And again, it's manufactured so that we buy things from people, instilling a sense of
Yeah.
lack and fear.
To perpetuate its own plan. Basically.
Exactly. There's so much food. There's so
Mhm.
many edible things. You will absolutely never
Mhm.
starve, ever.
Yeah.
But we do have to protect, obviously, nature
Yeah.
and the water, everything.
Go organic.
planet.
That's a good Virgo thing. Just choose organic stuff
Yep.
where you can, where your budget allows. Choose something organic over non-organic. That's a good
Mhm.
start too. If you're not in the growing of food situation.
Yep.
That's a really
And
good start.
organic farm produce is so much less expensive at your local farmers market than it is at the supermarket. So
Mhm.
again, give your local farmers the money.
Yeah.
It's less expensive. Anyway, going to these superstores it's unsustainable.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And when
And
you do that, you're supporting real people too.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Venus is reminding us to take really good care of ourselves and our loves.
Yes.
Mhm.
Express your feminine side as it moves into Leo. I still feel like it's a rest kind of situation. So be gentle with yourselves this month.
Yes.
Yeah. Let yourself feel everything that comes through with intelligence and consciousness so that you can continue reclaiming your space, but don't suppress the feelings. Let them happen, but don't indulge.
Mhm.
Yeah. Ask what the root cause is of it and then move the energy, right? Move it. What's the root of this? How can I address that? And then express it and move on. Don't project it, right? Not onto
Mhm.
somebody. This can be where like talk therapy is a good option, or,
Mhm.
yelling into the pillow.
Yeah.
Move the energy, not onto any specific person. You're just moving it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, feels like a good sort of like reworking of things. A lot of powerful things can come to the surface to integrate our truer expression, truer soul expression. So, I mean, interesting month.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to do any promoting of things before we sign off? True Sky Crew, you can find us on YouTube and Instagram at the True Sky Crew. Sashi, do you guys want to like just shout out your handles?
Yeah, you can find me at Sachi the Scorpio on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and also at SachiTheScorpio.com, where I write in my musings page a lot of detailed information on the astrological transits. You can find information on Saturn in Aquarius, Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, a lot of these things, Uranus in Taurus, and all of that. So if you're interested in learning more, feel free to become a member.
Support.
Yes.
Georgia?
You can find me at Star Nectar Astrology on Instagram.
Beautiful. Are you currently offering readings? Are either of you currently offering readings at this time?
My books are closed.
My books are full and closing.
I feel that. My calendar, I'm Inner Sky Alchemy on Instagram, and I'm kind of in the same boat. It's like my link, I've taken my links off my link tree for readings. My Dream Alchemy sessions are still available, and my Biofield Tuning sessions are still available. But if you know how to get a hold of me personally and ask me for a reading, I will book you, but the links are technically off the link tree for now. So it's like I'm semi available.
Yeah. I'm open to emergency. I'm open to emergency readings only. Emergency card readings are still in my shop. That's the only thing. But I also have my Astrology 101 and Astrology 201 courses available, and also my Tarot 101 if anyone wants to learn how to read tarot.
Good to know. All right, ladies. Well,
more to come soon.
Yeah, more to come.
Lots
the next
more.
chat is going to be Zodiac, True Sky Zodiac Taurus in 2 weeks.
We're talking Taurus.
Talking about Taurus. So we're looking forward to that. And thank you everybody in the live chat and listening live. We love you. And thank you everybody that listens on the replay. We appreciate our True Sky Crew.
Yes, we do. Because you're the True Sky Crew too.
That's right.
The True Sky Crew is you.